Give me a little countdown. YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to the Dojo Outfitters Show. I was calling it a podcast, but it's really just a video on YouTube that we're hanging out with. Yo, we have been listening. I've told Sensei Andy, we're trying to get it on iTunes. We're trying to get it on another platform with you guys. So, hey, just hang out. You never know. Sensei Andy's a very surprising guy. So stick to it. We'll be there. Without further ado, though, I keep the legend tour continuing. Ladies and gentlemen, today I bring to you Oregon's first female Jiu-Jitsu black belt, Straight Blast Gym coach, Amanda Loewen. Amanda, what up?
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Bro, thank you for coming. I told you when we were sitting here right before we started that when I was coming up with the podcast idea, you were literally one of the first people I thought of. I have a lot of good friends that are black belts, and I've been so interested by your story. The fact that you are Oregon's first female black belt, like that's gotta feel really, really good.
Yeah, it does. I feel like I put in a lot of hard work and obviously continuing to, because it never stops. You don't just get a belt and then stop training. I mean, some people do, I guess, and that it's kind of a bummer, but yeah.
I don't know. If you make it to black belt, it's like, you might as well just keep going. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me how all of this, how did you become Oregon's first female black belt? How did all of this start? Did one day you just walked into a gym and was like, hey, I'm going to get really good at jiu-jitsu really fast?
Kind of. I used to work around the corner at a tropical fish store, right by the gym, and I would walk past it almost every day on my lunch break. And I thought everyone was doing karate. And I was like, I absolutely should try out karate. This looks really fun. Everyone's in gis. And so one day I finally walked in and talked to someone, and they're just like, yeah, we don't have very many girls training. It would be really cool if you came in. And so I was like, okay. I was going to 24-hour fitness at the time. And so I went in and I tried a class, and then we rolled right away. I had like no idea what that was. But because I'm like a very stubborn, competitive person, I was like, I'm going to come back and I'm going to, whatever these people did to me, I'm going to do to them. And then, yeah, that was kind of the beginning.
Man, that's pretty wild that you thought you were going to a karate class and you end up being like, nope, this is jiu-jitsu, but you can still punch somebody in the throat in jiu-jitsu.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm in.
That's right. I did some stand-up, and I'm very glad it wasn't karate. I was going to school for a little bit, and I took like a 1 credit like karate class. And it was awful. I was like, I'm so glad that I never did karate. Like jiu-jitsu is so much cooler and like a real like self-defense like thing that you can use. So
did you play sports in high school?
No, I didn't. I played like soccer in elementary school. I was not very good. Like, I don't think I was like a very athletic child. I rode bikes a lot and like swam in a pool that we had, like a doughboy pool as a child. So I don't know if you call that athletic by any means, but yeah, no, in high school, I wasn't able to really play sports. I wanted to play soccer, but my mom, being like a single mom taking care of like 4 kids by herself, was kind of like, I think, enough on her part. So yeah.
So do any of your other brothers or sisters train?
No, I've tried to convince them. I've made my mom and my sister take a couple classes when they would come and visit, but that's like definitely not their thing.
Yeah.
And then I forced my younger brother to try it once when he came and stayed with me for like a couple weeks, and he's like, he hated me. He just wanted to play video games. I was like, but you have to do jiu-jitsu if you're going to stay with me, and then you can play video games. And then my brother, who lives in Texas, currently, he's like on the fence. He's thinking about it. So yeah, I'm trying.
Hey, heck yeah. That's how I am with like everyone in my life. Like everyone knows I do jiu-jitsu. Like they're like, oh, this guy, you know, the typical blue belt. Like ask one thing and be like, well, I do train jiu-jitsu. I might be able to help you. They're like, how does jiu-jitsu have anything to do with this conversation? Don't worry about it.
Everything to do with every conversation.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But yeah, dude, I've had lots of people, dude, like I bet I've brought over 10 people just from my work to come and like train at least one time, just so they could like say that they did it.
It's super important. I don't know. It's hard for me to have friends that don't train. I just don't really hang out with those people. It's also just hard for me to talk about things that don't involve jiu-jitsu. Like it sounds kind of like cheesy maybe, but it's, for me, like personally, it's hard to have conversations that don't involve something that I do every day.
Yeah. No, it's like like-minded personalities.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows what it takes to come to class every day and, roll hard and, get humbled. Dude, when people ask me like, what did jiu-jitsu do the most? It humbled me. It humbled me so, like, I'm 5 years in and still get my ass kicked, like bad. Like even me and Amanda have rolled before, you guys. She's really nice. So if you see her at an open mat, ask her to roll. She'll be really nice to you. But anyways,
I will roll with everyone.
No,
sure.
And you are like, it's fun. Like me and you have had super fun rolls because you just kind of counter everything that I do, like in a very positive way. Like one time you put that guillotine on me like you did from that girl, but you didn't, like, you just grabbed it. But like in my head, I was like, oh shoot, I'm this meme from 2018. But no, you rolled like super nice, So I definitely appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no point to me. And I don't know, there's I guess a time for like real competitive rolls, but to me, like an open mat isn't necessarily the place. Like I don't have to prove myself. I mean, yeah.
Have you, and you don't have to answer this, have you had people come at you hard? Because here's what I think every time we roll. I'm like, okay, like, do I like try and like do good, or like she could kill me? Like, I'm just going to keep it super fun.
I've absolutely had people like try to come at me. I mean, because whether you're a black belt or an upper belt, I think some people like really want to like prove themselves, or maybe they just haven't had the opportunity to roll with people at like that level before. And so they just, they really kind of go at it. Depending on who it is, I mostly find it like amusing. And then sometimes I'll kind of get, like a little fed up and I'm like, all right, like it's time to just like finish this roll.
All right, brother.
Yeah.
That's enough. That's enough of that. No more Mrs. Nice Guy over here.
But for the most part, I don't mind so much, like I'll let, I don't know. I really enjoy rolling with all sorts of different people. And if it makes them feel good to like get certain positions, then I'll let them feel good,
Dude, see that? Like, I've learned my lesson about that. Like, I can tell when sensei's not going hard. Like I feel it. You know what I mean? Like I know that sensei can just do whatever he wants to me. So if I get the guard pass, man, that don't feel good. He probably just put me in a trap that I didn't even know about. And
Possibly.
I'm about to get submitted. We don't even know yet, but I passed guard and now I'm in trouble.
A good coach lets you work though. They don't just like completely mess you up every time. It's important.
Oh, that's good. Yes, that's good. That's good to know.
Give or take a little bit. Right?
I must go to an okay school then.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Let's get back. So tell me how long did it take for you to get your blue belt?
A year and a half, I think.
Okay.
Something like that.
Did you compete like the whole way through, or like are there white belt matches of you out there?
They are hard. It's there are some like old photos. It's really bad. Yeah. The hair has pretty much been the same. Just bang straight across.
Dude, you do have like a very like specific haircut. Like
it's been this way since I've been a child. Pretty much. So.
Listen, hey, you do what works. It definitely looks okay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
thank you. So probably about maybe 4 months into like training. Yeah, I decided to. I think it was an Oregon Open or like a sub league that I did. I remember getting second, I think, or something like that, and then I like got fastest tap, which was pretty cool. And then I just I kept competing, and then blue belt. I like felt pretty good. And then I went to Worlds for the first time at blue belt, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're gonna do so good. It's gonna be amazing." I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna win, and it's gonna be awesome." And I remember my first match, I lost by like 2 points because this like crazy ass Mongolian girl took me down. I was like, "Oh my God, this girl just took me down," or like tossed me. And I wrapped my closed guard around her, and I just held closed guard for like 5 minutes while all of my coaches were yelling at me to open up my guard. And I was like, "Nope, like I'm just gonna stay here the whole time, like tunnel vision, not doing anything." And I remember just like sobbing and just like crying. It was the worst. It was like the worst experience. And that was the first time I also met Coach Chris Howder. And he's like, "You remember how this feels?" He's like, "You remember this right now?" I was like, "Who is this person?" Like, I'm like crying. It was like the worst experience of my life. Like, I trained so hard for this. Like, nobody else here trained as hard as me. And it's like, of course, the world championships. Like, my brain like couldn't fathom that other people like trained hard. And like, yeah. So I walked away from that. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, first of all, like, it's a tournament, it's worlds, but it's, it's just like other people train really hard and are like going for the same goals that you have. And yeah, you need to like get a grip a little bit. So yeah, that was a tough but important lesson.
Dude, that's an amazing story. That's
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry you lost, obviously, but that is like, man, that's why I love getting to talk to people, because man, people have just these awesome journeys. So from blue to purple, how long did it take you to get your purple belt?
I think a year or something like that.
Was it because like I've rolled with you, so I obviously know your skill level, but like, did you get good really fast? Like, or were you just kind of like just better than all the girls that were out there?
Um, I definitely trained a lot. So I I kind of quit going to school and I quit my job and I just wanted to like be at the gym all the time.
Mm.
So was like doing little jobs at the gym and trying to coach. And yeah, I would train, like every day, like sometimes twice a day, just depending. And I think it is a combination of like maybe there weren't as many girls at the time training. And I definitely think that the level like over the years has gotten like exponentially better.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. Like, I mean, even just like look at the kids, right? Like kids Pan Ams just happened and like those kids are probably better than me. Like if I
Mm.
had to compete against them and they were like my size and weight, like they probably just smash me. Who knows? But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a mixture of that. And then yeah, I think that like I felt really good like as a blue belt and purple belt. Like I look back and I was like, man, like mentally felt like on point.
Uh.
So,
Yeah, well, I think I'm asking just because you did have a fast rise to black belt. Because would you got your black belt in just under 6 years or 5 years?
5 years, yeah.
5 years. So, which, like I said, I don't question your skills at all. I think it's well earned and deserved, and you've proven yourself to be a good black belt. And you know, let me ask you. I know I'm kind of like jumping all over the
No,
place
you're
on you,
fine.
but talk to me about like getting matches, because we tried to hook you up at Passion for
Yeah.
Passion 3 years ago, and like it's just hard to get girls to fight you.
Yeah, I feel like it goes like one way or the other. To kind of like go back to like the black belt thing, it's like getting that belt was like not my choice. Like it was like my coach's choice to give me that belt, but it's like I wish I would have been able to stay at like brown belt or purple belt like a little bit longer and kind of grow into those belts a little bit more than to be given a black belt or to, I don't know, earn a black belt. It's not that like maybe I couldn't hang with some of those girls because I did well in like quite a few large tournaments, but I don't think that's like competing is the most important thing that displays your jujitsu. If that
Mm.
makes any
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's either like I can't find matches or like Fight to Win had asked me to fight like Hanette Stack, and I was like, absolutely, I'll do it. But then they ended up going with someone else that had like a bigger name, so that's like it's hard because it's like I do have some decent wins, but like I'm my resume, I don't feel like is as, I don't know, built up as it could be, if that makes any sense.
No, absolutely. That was kind of, I remember talking to you at the Passion for Passion. That was definitely, I could kind of feel your frustration. Like that wasn't the first time that happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm more than happy to fight anyone. It's not like I haven't lost before. I've lost like many times. But I do like to challenge myself. So
is it kind of what transitioned you into mixed martial arts, was to try and get, more matches, or was that just something that you were kind of desiring to do, scratch an itch per se?
I like to keep myself as like honest and like humble as possible, and I like to make sure that like my training works in all areas. So I don't like love stand up per se, which is why like I haven't pursued like professional martial arts, and I've just stuck with amateur. But I was very interested in trying to like make sure that I can put it all together and really have that good like self-defense perspective as well. But yeah, I fought early on. I think maybe 2012 was my first MMA fight, and then I did it again in 2013. And then it took quite a few years off. And then in the past year and a half, had a couple last fights.
So talk to me about the time off. Was that just a personal thing, or was it something like you just weren't interested in it at that point in time?
Yeah, I think it was a mixture of a couple things. So one is just fighting. For those of you who have done like MMA, like it's a lot of like time. It's very time consuming, and it can be kind of tough on the body. And I think we have better practices now, but I'm sure for those of you that have like trained in the past, it's just like you just train super hard and you spar really hard all the time. And it's like, those are not sustainable things for your body to take for a long period of time. So there was that aspect. And it was hard to find time between like coaching a ton of classes and training, and then also training for a fight. And then I had to kind of figure out exactly what I wanted to do. And it's just like, I'm in love with jiu-jitsu. Like I'll always be in love with jiu-jitsu. Like I'm not in love with MMA. So I took that time off.
Well, don't tell anybody, but I watched your last fight via Instagram Live.
No, it was really bad.
Don't tell anybody that I watched on Instagram Live. I watched with some of my fellow jiu-jitsu teammates. Shout out to you guys who know who you are. But damn, that was a close fight. That was like, honestly, if that goes to the judges' scorecards, like you never know.
No, absolutely.
You never know.
That was a very tough fight. It wasn't, I mean, it was tough physically, yes, but this last fight was like more mentally challenging than like just about anything that I've like put myself through. It was a very, very hard camp for me. So.
Was it because there was a title on the line, or were you like feeling extra pressure?
I was feeling a lot of pressure, and I had done Nogi Worlds a week before, and that was like a disaster. It was probably like the worst performances I had ever had. I was like just very relaxed. It was also tough because like I didn't really have a coach, and so that was
an MMA coach.
Jiu-jitsu coach. I didn't really have a jiu-jitsu coach at Worlds. I feel like I've been kind of coaching myself for a while, and so that competing has been kind of like rough for the past couple of years.
It is like super nice to hear a friendly voice when you're like in the bottom of someone's mount or something getting smashed. You know what I mean? Be like, shrimp. I know that. Shrimp. Oh, shrimp. Me. I'm out of here.
Yeah. Or just having someone tell you the time and so
feeling supported. Yeah. Like, oh, dude, I need all of that. Like, first of all, I'm not a good competitor. I get more nervous for no reason. And I was like, dude, I'm like the person who tells himself, this is what I say to myself. I'm like, dude, no one cares. Literally no one cares. Like, I'm going to show up to work tomorrow if I got first place or if I got last place, and none of these people are going to know.
No, it's totally true. Yeah.
But as the second I even start to like drive to the venue, like my stomach's in knots, like I'm overthinking. I'm like, dude, what if something happens? Like,
I'm the same way, but it's like as soon as I sign up for the tournament, then like all of the daydreams start, and it's just like you go through every possible scenario, and yeah.
so back to the fight. It was super close. So in the fourth round, I believe you decided they're super short. The only thing I don't like about, I wish they were 1 minute longer rounds. Because what are they, 2 minute rounds?
Three, 5 3-minute rounds.
The 3 minutes goes by so fast.
It's not enough time. I wish I mean, to me, in my opinion, I wish all tournaments were like no time limit, submission only.
Shugio style.
Dude, Shugio style. Like Phil did it right.
Yeah.
The 10th Planet people did it right. And it's, yeah. I mean, even like the who's number one that just happened. I'm like, you don't know who's number one by points or decision. Like, come on.
Yeah, because
like,
everyone
just go to submission.
Because they always play to the rule set.
Absolutely.
They get a guard pass and then see ya action.
Yes.
There will be no more action.
Yes.
And these dudes are so good that if you pass guard, they could just hold you there.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm down with the no time limit too.
That's the beautiful jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Because eventually you're going to someone's getting tired eventually.
That's the thing is like when all of your attributes run out, you are only left with whatever jiu-jitsu you possess.
Yeah. So anyway, so you pulled guard.
I pulled guard a bunch of times.
Man, it's only like in my head. Like I said, I was watching a cell phone video on my cell phone, so not the clearest. It was not HD. By the way, it's 2020. FCFF, can we get pay-per-views? Can we buy a $5 pay-per-view? I mean, like, what do we got to do, FCFF? I'm just putting it out there. You guys are missing out on people who can't make it to the show who would buy it on their cell phone. 100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
And what about the people who don't like to go out?
Yeah.
They're like, well, I guess I'll just figure out who won later. Hopefully someone took a video of it. But in my mind, I remember the fourth round, you pulled guard. It seemed like you were working on either armbar or triangle, and it was close. It seemed like you knew you had something. Because then in the fifth, it was way faster. You were like immediately had her in your guard.
Yes. So I think the second or third round, I had her in a triangle, but we were up against the cage and I just couldn't make the angle and I didn't want to like completely burn myself out. And then the buzzer went off. I think the third or fourth round, I had gotten probably like a reaping position. And I was going for, or like an upside down close guard. I was going for like a couple toe holds. And I was like, why am I not able to finish these? And then finally, one of my coaches, Eddie, he was like, you need to get on top. Or he's like, you need to put your leg through. And in my brain, I was like, what is he saying? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. And then finally I was able to get on top. And I swept and then I took her back at the end. And if I had done that earlier, I'm like, you idiot. Like you could have finished it like this round because I had like a choke locked in, but then the buzzer went off.
Yeah. That's what I was saying about like the 3-minute rounds are like so fast. And that's what I remember is like you were working and like 1 more minute, 30 more seconds.
Absolutely.
Like that was a wrap there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like props to Jordan. She did a really good job. And you can tell that like she's been training for me for a while. So.
Well, she seemed tough.
No, she's definitely tough. Like
tough as like you can tell like even when she got submitted, there wasn't really, she didn't quit.
No, for sure.
She didn't quit. She got submitted. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I had never seen her fight before, but that was like, I was definitely impressed with, she came to fight you for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, she's very skilled and she'll be fighting in March for the 135 title. And I think she's going to do really well. Yeah.
I there's a lot of, the FCFF is getting a lot of it looks like there's 4 girl fights on the next card alone.
Yep.
Seems like definitely a lot of female MMA in the Northwest is kind of like coming up.
Yeah. They're exciting as well because girls are like, I think, a lot more savage than some of the guys just because I think sometimes we have maybe a little bit more to prove. We want to have good, exciting performances.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, dude. The chicks always scrap. That's, they feel like maybe, I don't know, that people are like, oh, these people don't think I can fight. Watch this.
Yeah.
Watch this. Yo, so you posted on your Instagram a while ago, kind of talking about diabetes. And I'm like super interested how that kind of like affects, like, I mean, I'm sure there's some days that it makes you feel like complete crap.
Yeah. Yeah. Diabetes is the worst. So like randomly 6 years ago, like just before I had gotten my black belt, or maybe like a month or so after I'd gotten my black belt, yeah, I had to like go to the hospital because like there was all these like I had these weird symptoms, and I had gone to the fire station to have my blood tested because I was like trying to train, and I would be so exhausted and so tired I would have to like take a nap on the mat. And then I just, yeah. So eventually went to the hospital, and they're like, yo, you have type 1 diabetes. They're like, it's later in life, but it's like, this is what's going on. So, um, like pretty devastated because I was just like, oh my God, like I'm never going to be able to eat pizza again or like have anything that I love, which is kind of, it sounds so silly, but, they're just like, yeah, like you are lucky that, you have like a decent diet and like you exercise as much as you do, because they're just like, we were surprised that you were able to like drive to the hospital because it was like over 600. And like for normal people, your blood sugar is like anywhere from 70 to like 120 or so. So it was like functioning, yeah, on like really high blood sugar. But yeah, it's been very challenging. I also like don't really have insurance right now. Um, and shout out to Lisa at the gym who hooks me up with insulin to keep me alive.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Lisa, I'm going to be the second person to say thank you.
Yeah, because insulin is also really, really expensive. It's not cheap, especially for those that aren't able to, yeah, have insurance right now. But yeah, some days it's okay, but I also feel like my body works very differently from other people. So I feel like for most diabetics, and we have a couple at the gym that have like monitors and stuff, but
Mhm.
like normally when people exercise, your blood sugar will spike a little bit, but then it will drop. Mine just like stays high. So even when I'm like fasting, I'll still have to take insulin so that when I train, like I can function while I'm training.
Mhm.
Because like when I get high, then it's just like I almost have like cotton mouth, and I'll get really tired, and it's really hard to focus. But yeah.
So how has has it aff- has it affected kind of like your weight cut? Do you have to cut do you have to cut weight to
I don't really cut weight anymore. I'm definitely like a lot bigger than I used to be. So I used to walk around at like 140, 135 like 6 years ago. Now I'm like steady walking at like 150, which is like I feel like a pretty big difference. I mean, I also tried to like lift a little bit more. Um, but yeah, like the weight is definitely different because insulin's basically like a steroid in a sense. And
Mhm.
my hormones are obviously different now that I'm a little bit older too. But yeah, I realize now like if I don't have to cut weight and I can go in like healthy or feeling good, then I'm just gonna do that instead of suffering.
I learned that pretty quick.
Yeah.
I learned like cuz at first I was able to make 154.5 with my gi just cuz I'm like a smaller dude,
Hmm.
and honestly all I'd have to do is just not eat crap food.
Yeah.
All I had to
Yeah.
do was diet, and like just it would just shred off of me. But it got to the point where I was thinking about it. I was always thinking about, I'm like, oh, what am I gonna eat today?
Yeah.
Like, can I eat this? Can't eat that.
Yeah.
Better not drink that.
Yeah.
And then I just got to the point where I was like, dude, like the difference between 154 and 168 is nothing. Like, why don't I just come in at my normal weight? I walk around at like 165 with the gi. I make the weight class so easy. And there's no thinking. Like it's just like one less thing. I was weighing myself like 3 times a day.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Oh, how much do I weigh? Oh, can't eat that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough too when you have to like everything revolves around like what you're gonna eat or drink. And then it's yeah.
So tell me, so you were kind of saying that you've always been a healthy person. So kind of like tell me about your diet, like when you're training, and also I'm also interested like getting ready for like fight. Is your jiu-jitsu training, do you eat the same as you do when you're fight training, or do you switch it up a little bit?
Um, I think it's generally about the same. I try to do more smoothies when I'm in like a camp or something like that, instead of having like heavy meals. Basically, all I really need to do is just cut out like carbs or just like too many carbs, like simple carbs like breads and pastas and stuff like
Mm.
that. Like those, yeah, those are the things that are
Hold on.
those are the things that are killer. Also like chocolate peanut butter things, which are
Ooh.
also, yeah.
I was gonna say, what's your like cheat? I'm interested in your cheat meal.
My cheat meal.
Yeah.
My cheat meal. I I do love pizza. I mean, I don't have it very often, but it's like a,
What about like a cauliflower crust pizza? Could you have that? Or like,
no, I could have that. Yeah, I could have that. I mean, I could technically like eat whatever I want. There's just consequences, right? It's just like I have to take more insulin to make up for it. But um yeah, I try not to do that because I don't want to have to take more insulin for the things that I put in my body.
okay, I'm just gonna let you know I'm ignorant to, you know what I mean? I don't know anything about diabetes. I don't know, you're the only person that I know that has it. So how how does that work exactly? Like the does the insulin, like when you put insulin in, does it make you feel different or like
Not necessarily. So as like a type 1, my pancreas like doesn't produce any insulin anymore. So I have to like inject myself with insulin so that it can like process the sugar that I'm intaking. Um, but yeah, I mean, if I take too much, I can like feel it a little bit as far as like I'll get a little bit lower. And then obviously, like if I don't take enough and then my blood sugar's high, like I feel a certain way.
hmm, man, the human body is so crazy,
It's awesome and dumb at the same time.
right?
Yeah.
I know, right? The oxygen that we breathe is what kills us, which is so funny to me. Um, so let's transition a little. When did you get your first coaching job in jiu-jitsu?
I think maybe a little after blue belt, I started just kind of coaching at the gym. Um,
Were you doing like women's classes or kids classes
we didn't have
or
women's classes for a really long time. I was doing some kids classes and then like a foundations class.
uh
Yeah.
that how much did teaching help you um become kind of the person you are?
Oh man, it's been like everything to me. Like I love my students. Um like yeah, I wake up for them. I love seeing their improvement. They're also kind of like my human guinea pigs, like finding out what works and what doesn't work. And I really want to make them like better than I was. And I think a lot of them are
Yeah.
from where like I started, like they're already better than I was.
Yeah, one of my favorite Sensei Andy quotes, and he's got a million of them, is he's like, "I'm not going to let you make the same mistakes that I did."
Absolutely. That's a good coach. Yeah.
He's like, "I ain't going to let people, you know, do this or do that," and it's always solid advice.
It's true. Yeah.
Oh man, so I'm curious more about the Straight Blast Gym and kind of like how they do the rankings there for like the white belts and stuff. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So we used to just have, the regular white belt, and then that person would get 4 stripes on it, and then they get their blue belt. Now we have the white and yellow, the orange and white, the green and white, and then you get your blue belt. At first, I was like partially opposed to it because I'm just like, these people just
It does seem like, and I don't like, I'm genuinely curious, but it does this, it, I don't know, but is stripes on a white belt gimmicky? Like if you like took, you know what I mean? Like if you like took someone out of the whole situation and been like, hey, like what do you think is better, this way or that way? You know what I mean?
There's definitely pluses to the system that we have now. Like you know that there's those people out there that love belts and they love stripes. Like that's what they live for. They go to the gym so that they can get their stripes so that they can post about it. And it's like the best day for them. I don't really understand that part of it because it's just like, if I didn't have a belt, like I would just keep training, like again, it's like, it doesn't stop for me. Like the belt, like it means something to me, but then at the same time, it's like, I just want to train because I love this thing,
I tell my other black belt friend, I'm like, that's because you have a black belt. Like, I bet if I talked to you a blue belt, you'd be like, hell yes, I want my purple belt. Please give it to me.
I don't though. I didn't. I mean, if I was a blue belt now, I'd be so pumped. I'd be the best fucking blue belt. It would feel so good. Like, I love being a blue belt.
I see it both ways. Like I legit see it both ways because part of it's like the belt don't matter. The belt doesn't matter at all. You like the belt comes off in training. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it doesn't matter.
It's a representation of your hard work and the hours and the skill.
That does feel good. Like, you know what I mean? Like putting in the work and then being rewarded for it feels good. And especially, how hard a work you have to, like, let's say to get to purple, you know what I mean? Or to brown, like that's a lot of time in the gym. That's a lot of hours. That's a lot of sacrifice. That's a lot of getting your ass kicked, guaranteed.
Yeah. So that's kind of goes back to like our belt system. So in the foundations class, which I'm so glad we have now. So that's, a class for people who can like come off the street and take a jiu-jitsu class and not feel like super overwhelmed because there are peers in there that are on the same level. We have some other like even blue belts take the class sometimes just to get more fundamentals because that's like the foundation of jiu-jitsu. And then after they graduate that, they get their white and yellow belt. And then they go into the higher level classes, which we call them cap classes. And so for instructors, it's nice to be able to see like, oh, this person has just graduated. Maybe they need a little extra help or they're not allowed to roll yet. Or, I mean, they can do some drilling and maybe some light rolling with like a coach or some other more experienced person. But a lot of it is just kind of safety and then kind of being able to gauge like, okay, this person is like this far along because on their white and yellow belt, then they'll get 4 stripes on that. And then they'll get their orange and white stripe, which is again, it's just like a higher level of that white belt. So
do the stripes come pretty quick for the white belt, like the white and colored belts, or like what is it? What's the average time to get to blue belt? Is it still like 2 years?
It's about 2 years. So the green and white belt is basically like your regular white belt with 4 stripes on that.
Okay.
So the green and white for us is like, okay, this person has some experience. They've probably been training for like over a year. They can come to comp team now. Like they're probably a safe partner to train with.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, as coaches, especially like, not all of us coaches sees the same students every day.
So do you have any future plans of trying to open your own personal jiu-jitsu gym, or do you kind of like being with an accredited school, or what's your thoughts on that?
I have always wanted to open up my own school. That is kind of a interesting subject.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely have some future plans. It may not be here in Portland. There's a possibility that I might have to go elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, I just, the reason I ask is just because, I've gotten to, this isn't the first time I've talked to you. I've got to talk to you a handful of times. You're one of the nicest people that I've ever met. And, like I said, we've rolled so many times and your skill level is very high. Plus there's not a lot of black belts in the Portland area either that are females. I actually only know 2, honestly.
Yeah, I think there's definitely, there's a lot of gyms in Portland, in the Northwest. There's like a handful of them that I think are pretty fantastic. But I don't know if it would have to depend on on a few things.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the perfect world, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You'd have a sick gym with, everything everyone needs and hundreds of students. And
that's right.
So I'm interested about the fire brew. Like, how did that relationship come to fruition?
Interestingly enough, the owner Valerie like lives down the street from me, and I would walk my dog. And I knew one of her friends, and so he introduced me to her, and then that relationship just came about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I've never had a fire brew before. Sell me on because you're always drinking the little bottle. That's what I see.
I should have brought some.
I'm surprised. I thought
I'm a terrible representative.
No, not even for me. Like, I swear, like in my head, I was like, she's probably gonna slam like a fire brew right before this and be lit.
Oh man, it's just it's apple cider vinegar and like tons of natural herbs and fruits and vegetables, just kind of all mushed up in a bottle. And I literally take it every day. I know it sounds like maybe kind of cheesy or a sales spiel, but
I'm a salesman myself, so hit me. I'm ready for it.
I mean, between them and then Garden of Life sponsors me, but it's like those are two fantastic, like legit companies to be sponsored by. So very, very appreciative.
So I want to go back to your diet again. I'm sorry to keep asking, but I'm so interested kind of in like I know you talked about smoothies. What else do you eat?
Salads.
Like a salad bar person, or you like make your own salad?
No, I make my own. I prefer cooking over going out. Like I don't go out very often.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I'd rather like cook all of my meals because then I know what I'm getting.
Again, I'm like 50-50 on this. Like I think that's just because I'm a bartender. I love going out and someone else making food for me. And especially like delicious food. Like
if it's like good, delicious food, I love it. But I'm also like kind of cheap. I don't like to go out and spend too much money.
Damn, I wish I was cheap. I'm like, oh, we can work tomorrow, baby. Let's get this filet mignon.
I grew up real poor, so I'm very, very fine with like making food at home. It's like, the memes, like we have food at home. That's me.
You got the food at home?
We'll find some food at home.
Are you a good cook?
I think I'm a pretty good cook.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm not like too picky, but it's like if I go out and be like, I could have made this at home, then I'm real disappointed.
See, that's an insider tip. Never ever order something that you make good.
Exactly.
Never. If you are listening out there, people, and you make something good, the last thing you should do is order it from a restaurant because you're going to be like, oh, I make this better.
Absolutely.
Don't order that. Don't order that. Hey, I've had to start getting good at cooking out of necessity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have for the fam, I got an 11-month-old son and he's walking already, of course.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's the way we do it here. 10 months old. Let's go ahead and just start walking around. So he ain't interested in sitting down for no meals anymore.
Yeah.
So we're cooking at home.
Eating on the move.
Eating on the move. And you better make some for him because he likes food now.
That's awesome.
Do you want kids ever?
I do very much so.
You seem like you'd be like a good mom.
I would.
Do people at the gym ever say that?
Yeah, I got real close to like a few of the kids, and yeah, I love the parents. Yeah.
Dude, that thank you for saying that. The kids classes, how you like do the student of the month and you're always taking pictures of them. I just wanted to say, like, from my perspective, like how good I guarantee that makes those kids feel to have you like taking their picture and like being excited that they're there. And tell me how it feels to be like, look, you're very looked up to, even by me. I'm a 36-year-old man and I look up to you. You know what I mean? Like, how does that, like, it's got to be a crazy kind of feeling.
It is kind of a crazy feeling because I don't know, like, to me, I'm just like a regular person, like I find it very hard to like talk about myself. Like I was thinking about this podcast and I was kind of stressing out a little bit. I'm like, oh my God, I have to like kind of talk about me or like go through like experiences. But as far as the kids go, it means like everything to me. They were like, fantastic little humans.
Yeah.
and they taught me a lot. They definitely taught me patience.
Big time.
But how to word things and answer certain questions, and
Be strict, but not be too strict.
Yeah, and they're always honest with you. You know,
Mm.
it's like, and I felt like that has made me a more honest person too, because I don't know, I'd like to pride myself on being like honest with people. Like if someone asks me like, "How's my day going?" I'm like, "It's pretty shitty." They're just like, "What?" I'm just like, "Yeah, it's like it's not that great today, but it's like it's gonna be good." It's like it throws people off because I think a lot of people are used to hearing like, "Oh yeah, it's great," but I feel like the kids had, they were always honest with me, because it's like if a kid's not having a good day, like they're not having a good day because they're honest and they show it to you and they tell you. So it's like, well, I want to be more like that. Like I don't want to just like fake it all the time,
Right.
because I think all too often it's like you need to smile more, or like make you like a lot happier. It's just like, no, like I'm just gonna be myself. If I'm not having a good day, like I'm gonna let you know.
Yeah. You ain't having a good day.
Yeah.
Yo, tell me, I want more training stories. Like, tell me some training stories. Cause like, I mean, you've had to go through some crazy stuff.
Yeah. Training stories.
Yeah. Do you have any, like, have you been through like some gym wars? Like, actually, oh, you know what I want to know even more?
Yes.
Tell me about the guillotine of 2018. Like, I have to know about that.
Oh man. Okay. So
for those of you who don't know, Amanda was at an IBJJF tournament. Was it the Oregon?
There's a Nogi Worlds.
Nogi Worlds. And she almost ripped this girl's head. I am not joking. Look it up on the internet. There was memes and everything. Like, it was one of the most savage guillotines I've ever seen in my life. Please walk me through that. Tell me, I want to know everything.
I did feel particularly good about that submission, just because I had wrestled, or had had a match with that girl I think it was the year before, and it was just John and I. It was also at Nogi Worlds. It was John and I. It was like in the absolute. It was like a lot of people had kind of gone because it was like late in the evening, and it was Catherine and her whole like checkmat team, and it was just like John and I was just like, God damn it, like. And everyone's like, "Ah, boa," and like whatever they say in Portuguese.
Oh yeah, porrada.
Right.
I accidentally yelled that at one of Jason's matches. My apologies, by the way. I'm a complete white person. People laugh though. People laugh, so they knew I was joking. Anyways, keep going.
But yeah, so it was the whole checkmat team, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, like you got this. You're gonna get it." And so the first time she took me down a bunch of times, and I just like stayed really relaxed, and I ended up knee barring her, which felt really good. And it's just like the whole team was quiet. And then the next match that we had was at 2018 at Worlds, and you could tell like she was not super stoked to have to roll with me again. But I just like find her style very obnoxious, and it's like quite the opposite of mine. If you've like watched me compete, I'm very slow. Like I'm not like I'm not a speedy or scrambly type person. So yeah, when I rolled with her, she was doing all sorts of crazy things. And then when she tried to take a shot, then I just latched it in.
What version of guillotine did you hit
high
her
elbow.
with? That Marcelo team?
Always the high elbow. I very rarely do the arm in. I don't have that Hingertine down yet, but I'm working on it, Josh. Working on it.
Shout out to Josh Hinger. Yeah, Phil's got me on that Marcelo team.
It's legit. It's
legit.
I know.
Legit. I was like, hey, Phil, I'm doing something wrong here. Any way you could help me out? And he was like, oh, just do this. And instantly,
yes.
Like, I mean, I tapped faster than you've ever seen.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had locked that in. I think what made it look crazy is she tried to spin out. Like, she tried to do, like, the heartbreaker, like, from standing almost. And it's like, no. Like, I have you lifted off of the ground, like you are not going anywhere, kind of thing.
Like, right, because she kind of like, did she jump or you picked her up?
It was kind of a combination of both, but I was like, I know that I can lift her up,
right?
Because I'm a little bit bigger, obviously. But yeah, she also tried to like roll out from the side.
That was awesome.
Thank
Is
you.
that the highlight of your jiu-jitsu career so far, would you say? Or is there another sub that comes to mind?
I think that one was pretty good. I think anytime I can get a submission is pretty good. Either I win or I lose. So that was a win.
I wish I felt like that. What about the fight to win when we came to Portland?
Oh yeah, the fight to win.
You finished that one. By the way, shout out to you. Do you remember what gi you were wearing?
Hell yeah, that's my favorite gi.
You wore the Dojo
absolutely.
Outfitters.
Passion for passion.
Passion for passion.
Yes.
Shout out. This is the Dojo Outfitters podcast / YouTube show.
Yes, that it is my favorite gi, but I can't wear it as much because the patches are starting to come off now. The sublimation.
I actually know someone we could talk to about that. Be like, hey, listen, we need some new patches for Amanda. Can we get this in the works?
Or press it back on somehow.
Yeah. It was funny because I watched from home, and I remember sending Andy a picture of you like as you were getting introduced because you had the Dojo Outfitter gi on. Like I was like super.
It's like my business suit. It just feels like very professional.
No, you look good. You looked real good. I was like, this chick's in trouble. Do you remember that fight good?
I do. Yeah. It happened like pretty quickly. Sometimes I like have one thing in mind and then it just goes out. It goes out the door.
Yeah.
You just have to take what, just take it.
Just take what comes. Yo, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. You are like such an interesting, cool, normal person.
I don't know about normal, but thank you very much,
dude. And like, I'm gonna say this: like, if y'all see her at an open mat, guy, girl, whatever, please hit her up. She's so fun to roll with. Like I said, such a nice person. Every time I've asked, she's taken a picture with me. So yeah, Amanda, thank you so much. It was so awesome having you. So awesome getting to talk to you. And yeah, maybe one day you'll be there when I get my black belt.
I absolutely will.
I'll at least
it's gonna happen.
I'm gonna be the post guy. I'm the post guy. So I'm gonna at least be like, anyway, you can like this post. Thank you so much. You guys, Amanda Loewen.
Thank you guys.